Good evening, everyone. Welcome to VenTalk Live. I'm Joshua, and it feels great to be back. Not only great to be back at VenTalk, but also here at BW Monastery. And I think it's only fair that on behalf of all our viewers, good evening, Venerable Pensi.
Good evening, Joshua, and good evening, everyone.
Now, Venerable, in last month's VenTalk, right, we discussed that we need to have faith in the Buddha and to pray to the Buddha and seek his help in whatever things we do. But that is actually just an immediate step in taking refuge, or that's only an immediate step of what we can practice after we take refuge. So, can you tell us more on what is the next step?
Yes, another step that we need to take is to continue to develop that faith in the Buddha. Do you remember what is the way to develop faith, Joshua?
Yes, I think I do. It's to know the good qualities of the Buddha and the three jewels.
Correct. So we must know why the Buddha is able to help us. It's not just saying, I believe. No, or just assume that the Buddha is all-powerful and mighty and able to save us. That is just blind faith. Okay, so as Buddhists, we need to develop faith, true faith and genuine refuge in the three jewels from the bottom of our hearts. In other words, you are convinced that the Buddha is able to help you. And conviction comes from knowing why the Buddha is able to save us. To put it in another way, we must be able to explain why the Buddha is able to save you when someone asks you. So Joshua, do you know why the Buddha is able to save you?
What I think is because the Buddha is extremely powerful.
Then are you able to explain why the Buddha is so powerful? Where did he get all those power from?
Okay, it's a bit embarrassing to share, but I shall continue. What I used to think is that it's a bit like in the stories or in the movies, where after we die, then we get a certain special abilities like walking through walls or being able to fly. It comes with a package after you gain enlightenment or something. But after Fasil asked me this question, right, I'm not too sure. Can Fasil enlighten us on this?
Don't worry, Joshua, if you do not know the answer, because we can learn about the good qualities of the Buddha and how they came about. It's actually not too difficult, okay, to learn about the good qualities of the Buddha, because you can actually see their good qualities in the vast majority of the scriptures, especially if we read them carefully. So some are actually very obvious, for example, in the Amitabha Sutra, in the Medicine Buddha Sutra. Yes, but for tonight's VenTalk, I will share the Buddha's good qualities, which are summarized into 4 points. Okay, so there are actually 4 reasons why the Buddha is worthy to be our refuge. Okay, the first reason is that he has already mastered himself and attained the sublime state of fearlessness. If he had not attained this, then the Buddha will not be able to protect others, will not be able to protect us from all fears. It's just like, as if a person who has already fallen down, okay, someone who has already fallen down cannot help someone who has also fallen down. Okay, so in other words, the first reason why the Buddha is worthy to be our refuge is that he has already solved all his problems, the problems of his own suffering. And then he also possesses the wisdom to know the solution to all problems, and he has already solved all of them. Yeah, so Joshua, can you imagine what this is like if it was you who has already solved all your problems?
I like it how today there's a lot of questions, but it's good. So what would it be like? I would guess that I will be a very happy person, because I found out that all these bad things like sadness, frustrations, or anger, right, it comes when I have a lot of problems that I can't solve. So if I don't have those, then I think I'll be the most happiest person in this world.
Precisely. So the Buddha is the happiest person in the universe, because he has attained perfect happiness. He doesn't even have a single teeny-weeny bit of suffering, okay, because he has already solved all the problems of suffering. Not only that, because he has mastered himself using pure virtuous teachings, so that happiness is not tainted by any wrongdoings, and therefore the happiness is permanent. Because of that, the Buddha is also fearless. He does not fear anyone or anything. The Buddha cannot be killed. because he has already purified all negative karma. So he has attained perfect courage and perfect strength. Okay, so this is the first reason that describes the Buddha's wisdom, that he has mastered himself. Okay, if the Buddha has not done this, then he will not be a worthy refuge, because he will not have the experience to also guide us how to master ourselves. It will be like someone who has already fallen down will be unable to help someone else who has also fallen down.
Well, after Fasil say that, it reminds me that in some movies, right, there's always this a very powerful person that because he knows his own strength he's almost undefeated. There's almost like no one that can defeat him. Then he will be very good at facing all his challenges. There will be a lot of confidence in him. So Venerable say that the Buddha cannot be killed, and because he has already purified all his negative karma. I think I won't be fearful, right? If I know that no one can kill me. But can Venerable actually share more about this quality of the Buddha?
Yes, there are actually many stories of the Buddha subduing and guiding those who are on the wrong path. Okay, so for example, like Angulimala. Okay, so the Buddha is able to guide him towards virtue. The Buddha used his compassion, wisdom, and courage to guide even a person, to help Angulimala, who has already killed 999 people. Yeah, so he's a serial killer. Okay, and then also Devadatta. Okay, Devadatta, he tried a few times to kill the Buddha, but failed every time. Okay, so today I will share a story on how the Buddha is able to tame a drunken elephant. Okay, so the Buddha had a cousin, Devadatta, who was extremely jealous of him. Devadatta felt that he himself was as good as the Buddha, and he was jealous that people ignore him and did not honor him the way they honor the Buddha. So he was always thinking ways to harm the Buddha. So one day, he devised a plot to kill the Buddha. He knew that that day, the Buddha is going to come into the city. Okay, so before the Buddha came into the city, he brought an elephant to the city, then hide the elephant behind a wall, okay, and then he fed the elephant with a lot of liquor, okay, to make it drunk. Wow. His plan was to make use of the drunken elephant to trample the Buddha to death. Yeah, then after that, he saw that, the Buddha was coming. So at a distance, the Buddha was at a distance walking towards them. So he quickly used sticks, okay, big sticks to beat the elephant brutally. Okay, the drunken elephant was in great pain and was totally enraged. Seeing this, Devadatta immediately released the elephant in the direction of the Buddha. The elephant was overwhelmed with anger and pain, so it was very mad and then started to charge full speed towards the Buddha. So it raised its ears, its tail, and its trunk is all erected, and then made a lot of noise. The noise was as if thunder was striking. So all the disciples of the Buddha who was with the Buddha, they were horrified at this terrible sight. And then they scrambled to flee from this elephant. Only Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, stood firmly beside the Buddha. But at that time, the Buddha himself remained totally at ease and composed. He took a look at the elephant, and then he felt great love and compassion for the poor animal. He stood there where he was, and then he radiated his loving kindness towards the elephant. The Buddha's love and compassion was so strong and powerful that the elephant could feel it. Then just a few steps before it was about to step on the Buddha, the elephant stops in its path and then come down. It then slowly walked towards the Buddha, and then when it's in front of the Buddha, it bowed its head, respectfully bowed its head. Okay, then the Buddha stroked the elephant's trunk and then comforted it with soft and kind words, and the elephant was totally tame. End of story.
Wow. Actually, I think not only from the story that Fa Si shared from us. Actually, when Fa Si say this story or when we hear stories like this, it's a bit hard to imagine what kind of things will go through a person if he's in that situation. But I think it's wonderful that we have a video over there to show us actually how strong is it he can actually move a vehicle like this. Like it's something very light, right? And I think I saw a video online before that during a festival, the elephant also went on a rampage and he actually killed someone. So it's actually quite scary if we're in the presence of. I think it's good. Or I think it's okay if I use the word beast. And the Buddha, he really, I think, what can I use the word is nerves of steel. Yes, but I think another question that comes in is that for us to say that the Buddha has already purified all his negative karma, but why is it still that he have an enemy like Devadatta that will actually have the intention to cause harm like this to him?
Very good question. Okay, the short answer is that Devadatta made a vow many eons ago that he will help the Buddha progress quickly along the spiritual path by giving him all kinds of challenges and obstacles. Yeah, but we don't have time to go into the details today. I will share this story in a future VenTalk. So tonight, let us continue with the reasons why the Buddha is worthy to be our refuge.
Well, then I think I'm not the only one that's looking forward to the answer of that question for Fa Si to actually clear us out. But yes, okay, I think we will go back to today's topic. And Fa Si, just now you mentioned there are 4 reasons, but what's the second one?
Okay, the second reason why the Buddha is worthy to be our refuge, is that he is in all ways skilled in the means of training disciples. If he were not so, he will not be able to fulfill your needs, even if you go to him for refuge. So what this is saying is that the Buddha has not only mastered himself, but he also has the wisdom and skills to help others master themselves under any circumstances. So in other words, no matter what problem you have, or as long as you go to the Buddha for help, the Buddha will have a suitable solution that will solve your problem. Not only he has a suitable solution, but he will also be able to guide you skillfully, no matter what kind of person you are, whether you are smart, whether you are dumb, whether you are weak or strong, whether you are rich or poor, you are male or female, old or young, the Buddha will be able to guide you in a way that you can understand and within your capability. If the Buddha does not possess this condition, then even though he has mastered himself, but if you go to him for help, he will not know how to help you.
Andrew, just now Ven said something along the lines of no matter what are our capabilities, the Buddha will be able to help us in terms of how we are. I think it sounds like Buddha is a very approachable teacher.
Yes. Okay, so actually there are many stories on how the Buddha guides different types of disciples. And I will share the one on how the Buddha guides his most stupid disciple to become an Arahat. Okay, so during the Buddha's time, the Buddha had a disciple who was very stupid. His name was called Chuda Pantaka, okay, which means small road. As a child, when he went to school, he had to learn words like sidam. Okay, but when he could read the syllable sit, he would forget the syllable dam. Then by the time he remastered dam, he would have forgotten sit. Okay, so he was so stupid that all his teachers gave up on him. Yes, and then all his teachers gave up on him and then refused to teach him. Okay, then small road, he had an elder brother by the name of Mahapantaka, okay, which means great road, who became a Buddhist monk. Okay, and then soon after that, the elder brother, great road, he attained arahatship. Then when small road grew up, he went to his elder brother for help. So great road felt that he could help to develop his brother's potential, so he ordained small road as a monk. Then Great Road then spent the next 3 months trying to help his younger brother, to teach his younger brother a verse from the sutra. Okay, but he failed. Okay, even the local cowherds, every day the elder brother would teach him, right? So the local cowherds actually overheard that verse. So even the local cowherds already learned the verse, but Small Road still couldn't. Okay, so Great Road, he then used his miraculous powers because he already an Arahat, okay, to see how he can help Small Road. And then he saw that by insulting Small Road, that would be the most effective method. Okay, so he grabbed Small Road by the collar, okay, and then drove him out of the temple. So Small Road was devastated, and then he thought to himself, now I'm no longer a monk. And then he started crying. Okay, so at this time the Buddha came by, and then the Buddha heard him crying. Okay, and then motivated by great compassion, okay, the Buddha went to Small Road and asked him, why are you crying? Small Road replied, my abbot has thrown me out. Okay, then the Buddha said, my son, your abbot did not endure many hardships for 3 countless yawns to complete the 6 perfections. He did not compose the verse for you. I did. Okay, so I will teach you how to read. Then Small Road said, I'm the Taoless of the Tao, the smallest of the small. How could I ever learn to read? The Buddha then gave Small Road these words to memorize. Abandon dirt, abandon stains. Okay, but again, this proved too much for Small Road. So the Buddha then decided to purify Small Road of his negative karma. Okay, so he asked Small Road to clean the shoes of the monks. Then he asked the monks to recite the words to Small Road whenever he cleaned their shoes. So this is what they did. Okay, then Small Road, when Small Road had learned the words abandon dirt, abandon stains, the Buddha told him, you no longer have to clean the shoes. Okay, go and sweep the temple. Okay, and then you recite these words as you are sweeping. So Small Road went to sweep the temple, but whenever he had finished sweeping the right side of the temple, the left side became filthy again. And then by the time he finished sweeping the left side, okay, the right side was filthy again. So this all happened through the power and the wisdom of the Buddha. He purposely do this so that Small Road can continue to sweep the temple continuously and then clear away his obscuration. Yeah, then Small Road, he persisted. So through this constant act of sweeping the temple, his karma and obscuration were purified. Okay, then the thought came to Small Road. He said, when the Buddha said that abandon dirt, abandon stains, did he mean internal or external dirt? Okay, so he continued to contemplate, and then eventually he could remember verses he had even learned from his previous lives. Yeah, so eventually he achieved arahatship. And then he went on to become the Buddha's foremost disciple in converting other people. End of story.
Wow, actually it's amazing that the Buddha could actually transform one of his disciples from a man that actually couldn't even remember a verse to a noble being, someone we can call a noble being, which is Arhat. So to me, the idea is like training a beggar, right, who has no idea in finance or anything, and to train him into someone that's better than Warren Buffett. So if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, he's some guy that's very good in investing. Okay, but to me, if we are putting in this context, right, the difference between this and the Warren Buffett example, right, is that the gap in between is much, much wider. I think 1 trillion times wider. And I think that shows us even the difficulty in it. And can I ask, so what is the third reason?
Yes, so that second reason is that the Buddha is very skillful in helping others, okay, and then he will be able to help us solve our problems. Okay, the third reason why the Buddha is worthy to be our refuge is because he has great compassion. Okay, if he do not have this, then he will not be able to protect us even if we go to him for refuge. Okay, so this is necessary because without great compassion, even though the Buddha may possess all the solutions and has the skills to help us, But if we go to him for help, he will say, sorry, today I cannot help you. I know how to help you, but today I can't help you because I'm not free. Yeah, so the Buddha has this good quality, great compassion.
Well, I think it's like if someone introduced a very good doctor to me, right? But when I really need to see him, when I'm really sick, then he went for a holiday. So actually thinking back on the story about how Venerable's small road, actually his learning journey, right? I feel quite touched when I hear the Buddha say like, him referring to Venerable Great Road, that he did not compose the verses for you, I did, and I will teach you how to read. The feeling is like Buddha, right? He's like so high up. If you talk about a company or if you talk about an organization, he's someone that's really high up, but yet he's willing to put aside his superiority or his sort of high rank, right, to personally teach someone that is very low or someone that other people will despise. So yes, I think having the skills to help others, right, it's not enough for someone to be a worthy refuge. But Venerable, you say that Buddha has great compassion, but actually what is great compassion? I thought like compassion is enough already.
Yeah, we can actually think of great compassion in this way. Okay, so firstly, the only thing on the Buddha's mind is to save all sentient beings. He's driven by compassion and nothing else to help sentient beings. Okay, and then this compassion is also spontaneous. It comes automatically. Okay, it comes automatically to the Buddha whenever he sees sentient beings suffer. Okay, the second characteristics of great compassion is that the Buddha treats all sentient beings as his only beloved son. So the Buddha is like a fearless father. He will courageously help you, even if he has to go through great suffering and danger in order to help us.
I think the second part, right, it's a bit easy to understand. I think we all, like, we have often, or we have met people like this that treat us very, very well. But the first one I think about spontaneous compassion. Actually, Ven, can you explain to us what spontaneous compassion means?
Okay, spontaneous means automatically and instantaneously. If it's difficult for you to understand what spontaneous compassion is, let me give you an example that's closer to our daily experience. Let me ask you a question. Joshua, have you taken dinner tonight?
Actually, no, but later I'm going out for supper with my friends, and hopefully if there is over there, right, I might dig into some roti prata.
Okay, good. So let me ask you, when that plate of hot, crispy, fragrant roti prata arrive in front of you, what will be your spontaneous reaction?
Okay, so this, I think, based on my previous experiences. So if the hot plate of crispy, fragrant roti prata is right in front of me, right, then I will immediately dig in. Then sometimes I will even forget about offering the meal to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas because I'm too engrossed in eating.
One more thing, your saliva will also flow automatically, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, will you be able to stop your saliva from flowing?
Of course not.
Yeah, so that's an example of spontaneous reaction. Your saliva flows automatically. You cannot stop it even if you want to. Okay, and then you pick up the fork and spoon and then you eat the prata, right? You don't have to think. You don't have to ponder, should I eat this prata this way, that way? What are the steps to eat this prata? How many times should I chew? Should I wait 5 seconds? You won't think of all this. Okay, you will just pick up your fork and spoon and then you start eating with great enthusiasm. Yeah, as if nothing in the world will be able to stop you from eating that prata. So this is our spontaneous reaction when good food appears in front of us when we are hungry. So Joshua, what will happen? The next question, what will happen if you are about to eat the prata?
Yes.
A person that you dislike a lot, maybe it's your sworn enemy, appear in front of you and then snatch that prata away.
Okay, it's a bit embarrassing again to share this, but based on my previous experiences, what I will do is I will shout, "Oi!" Then I will threaten to throw my curry at him.
Correct, that is the experience many people have. You cannot control your anger even when you know you shouldn't get angry. So this is what we call spontaneous reaction. It is automatic It's automatic, uncontrollable, and very forceful. So for us ordinary beings, our spontaneous reaction when we see something that we really, really like is greed. Okay, very strong greed, unstoppable. And then when we see something that we really, really hate, or when things don't go our way, our spontaneous reaction is anger. So sometimes we know we shouldn't get angry, but it just comes. And then it's very strong. Okay, but for the Buddha, his spontaneous reaction when he sees sentient beings suffer is compassion. Compassion will arise in him automatically, instantly, and very strongly. He just can't help himself. And that is the driving force in motivating the Buddha to help us whenever he sees us suffer.
I think I have a better understanding on spontaneous compassion or compassion. But I've also heard about this because we're on the topic on helping the Buddha helping sentient beings. That some people say that in Buddhism there's this contradiction. So when Buddha says that we should help others, right? But Buddha also tells us that we should free ourselves from all our desires. So it comes in a contradiction where in one case we have to free ourselves from desires, then we have to help people. So isn't it that we should also free ourselves from the desire of helping people, because that is a desire also?
Yeah, that is actually a big misconception. Okay, when we help others, it could be driven by different kinds of motivation. If we help others because of selfish reasons, such as expecting rewards for ourselves, then that is the kind of desire that we should free ourselves from. Okay, but there's no contradiction in wanting to help others out of compassion for the suffering of others. And that is what the Buddha is always doing. The Buddha has great compassion. He sees all sentient beings as his only beloved son. So it's just like, if when you're young, okay, and then you fall down, when you fall down and you hurt yourself very badly, and then you call out to your mother for help. Would your mother start thinking, I'm so busy now, should I stop what I'm doing now to help my son? Or should I wait 5 minutes later to see whether he will be able to get up himself? Or should I wait if someone else will come and help him?
No, actually, knowing my mom, right, she will immediately put on anything and rush to me and see if I'm okay, then like sayang a bit.
Yes, that's the reaction of all mothers. Okay, so the Buddha is also like this, okay, when it comes to our suffering. Whenever you go to the Buddha for help, he will not think, should I help this person? Has he been good or bad? Does he deserve my help? Yeah, he won't think of all this. Compassion will arise in the Buddha automatically and instantaneously, and he will come immediately to help us. That is great compassion.
Wow, actually, after hearing this point, right, I feel that the Buddha is really worthy. I think the word to use it is really worthy of our refuge. So first, he already solved all his own problems. Then he has the ability to guide us and solve our problems. And also, like what Ven said, he has great compassion and all these qualities of great compassion. But Ven said that there are four reasons for why the Buddha is worthy of our refuge. So what is the fourth reason?
Yes, it seems that those three in front are already good enough to be a refuge, right? But there's actually a fourth reason. Okay, so actually from here we can see how stringent the requirement is. Yeah, so we can be really, really sure that the Buddha is indeed worthy of our refuge. Okay, so the fourth reason is this. Okay, the Buddha is pleased not by material offerings, but by offerings of practice. If he will not act as a refuge for everyone, but will help only those who have previously helped him. Okay, so what this is saying is that the Buddha is able to help anyone who are willing to listen to his instructions and then put them into practice. Whether you are his enemy or his friend, whether you have criticized the Buddha in the past, you have criticized the teachings, you have criticized the three jewels before, it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you are willing to turn over a new leaf and follow the guidance of the Buddha, you will be safe. This quality is actually very important because otherwise the Buddha will not be impartial, and he will only help those who will make better offerings to him. Okay, or he will help his friends first. Okay, so no matter whether you are rich or poor, you are his friend or his enemy, the Buddha will help all of us equally. The Buddha does not view our offerings to him as a condition for helping you. What he really cares about is whether we practice his teachings according to his instructions. And in fact, this is the way the Buddha saved us. Okay, teach us the proper method. So if we don't listen to him or refuse to practice according to his teachings, then the Buddha would be unable to help us.
So the Buddha is like a very compassionate doctor. I don't think he cares about the consultation fees at all, but he'll be more pleased at us if we are willing to take our medicine, we are willing to do the things he instructs us.
Yes, okay, so in summary, only one who is free of all fears, who is skilled in the means of freeing others from fear, who has great impartial compassion for everyone, and who acts for everyone's welfare, regardless of whether or not they have benefited him, is worthy of being a refuge. Okay, listen carefully, and the next part explains why the three jewels are the only worthy refuge. Okay, since only the Buddha has these qualities, and the divine creator and so on do not, he alone is the refuge. Therefore, his teaching and the community of his disciples are also worthy of being a refuge.
Yes, Ben, I think after learning and understanding about these four qualities, right, it really increased my faith in the Buddha or the three jewels. So, and also because I can't think of any other worldly god or deity that can actually possess these four qualities. I think that is also why I admire Buddhism. So if it's not a religion or it's not a belief that tells you that, or you need to believe, it just tells you to believe, but it's more of, let me explain the good qualities, let me explain why should you do this, why should you do this. And it's not just blind faith, but faith that is based on our proper reasoning and understanding.
Yeah, so if you can go back and continue to contemplate on these four qualities, you will be very, very convinced that the three jewels are the only truly worthy refuge. Then your faith in the three jewels can save you, and that faith will be strengthened, and the more you contemplate, the stronger you will get. Yeah. So these four qualities, okay, can also be summarized as perfect wisdom. Okay, the Buddha knows everything in the universe as clearly as a fruit that's placed in the palm of his hand. Okay, so he sees clearly the real nature and diversity of all phenomena. Okay, in other words, the Buddha is omniscient. His wisdom is everlasting, spontaneous, and he has all the solutions at his fingertips. Okay, and then the Buddha also possesses perfect compassion. The Buddha will help everyone equally regardless of whether or not they have benefited him. He treats everyone as his only beloved son. His compassion is spontaneous and continuous, and is the only motivation for the Buddha to help us. Okay, and then the third quality, perfect strength. The Buddha has attained fearlessness. He is not afraid of any problems. He's not afraid of anything or any person. He will certainly do everything that needs to be done to help all living beings.
It's actually a very, it's an easier way to think about it. If we think about it in what you said, perfect wisdom, perfect compassion, and perfect strength.
Yes, it's important to know that the Buddha is not just an ordinary human being. He is the Buddha, the fully enlightened one. He only took on the form of a human, an Indian prince 2,500 years ago in order to bring the teachings to us. I remember there was once this person, he told me he decided not to become a Buddhist, okay, because he thinks that the Buddha is just an ordinary human being. And then he said a human being cannot save him. Okay, only the divine creator can. Okay, but the divine creator cannot compare to the Buddha, because the divine creator is still in cyclic existence and can't liberate us from cyclic existence. Only the Buddha, with perfect wisdom, perfect compassion, and perfect strength, can save us from cyclic existence.
Yes, I think in previous VenTalk sessions, Ven also covered that although Buddha, all those years ago, he has passed on into parinirvana, but his mind stream is actually still there. He hasn't disappeared into nothing. And even though his body is gone, he will continue to take on other forms. He will manifest into other bodies to help us in form of excellent teacher and many other forms in order really to save us. And also there are Amitabha Buddha, Medicine King Buddha, and many other Buddhas that have not passed into parinirvana that are still there to help us when we are there to take refuge, when we are there to seek help.
Yes, so all these Buddhas like Amitabha Buddha, Medicine King Buddha, many other Buddhas, they all fulfill the same four reasons and possess the three perfect qualities worthy to be our refuge. Okay, so remember to put into practice what we covered in the last VenTalk. That is to build up this habit to seek help from the Buddha in whatever things you do throughout the day. Okay, and then today, after we learn all these good qualities of the Buddha, okay, go back, contemplate on the good qualities of the Buddha, and whenever you seek your help, whenever you seek his help, contemplate on his good qualities. This is my homework for everyone this week.
I think very rare we have a homework in VenTalk, but after today's lesson, I think it will be much easier for us to actually do, or today's lesson or today's VenTalk will actually give us a very strong motivation to complete Ven's homework for us.
Okay, we are already past 9:30. Would you like to summarize what we have learned today for everyone, Joshua?
Okay, so we will summarize up today's VenTalk. And the first one, right, when we talk about why is the Buddha so worthy of refuge. So the first one, right, I will give an example, is that it's a bit absurd, right, if you think about it. If a person, right, that can't even climb Bukit Timah Hill, he were to conduct a class called How to Climb Mount Everest 101, right? So it's like only when a person, after he has resolved all his problems, then he can go ahead to help or teach others about it. And the second one, right, Ven told us that he has the ability to teach us, to guide us. It's we can remember about the story of Venerable Small Road, that Buddha has the ability to train one of his worst students. Actually, his worst students might be me, but in that context, right, one of his worst students into the best in converting others. So that student actually eventually turned into ranking first in converting others. And after that, we go on to the third quality, right, that Buddha, he is very compassionate. And I think to me or to many people that I know, last time we used to think of Buddha as sort of like a star in the sky. You know, he's so high up there. And in some movies, we even see how Buddha is depicted, where, you know, they are together with the heavenly beings and they are instructed to not interfere with us. And the heavenly beings should not interfere with anything that happens in the human realm. But today's lesson gave us a different perspective, that actually Buddha, right, he is more like a loving parent that is treating us as his only child, and he will always be there for us. And that really shows his great compassion. And okay, so the last one, right, for me, why do I personally feel strongly about this, is that I remember that I used to be a bit disrespectful to the Buddha or to the Triple Gems, and it's very touching for me to know that even if such a bad student like me, right, when I'm willing to take refuge, when I'm willing to seek for his help, he will always be there for me no matter what. And of course, all these are due to his perfect wisdom, perfect compassion, and perfect strength, like what Ven covered just now. And my conclusion is that for the Buddha and his teachings and the community, his students, right, which are the disciples, the Sangha, are truly our refuge, our one and only refuge. And I should give my thanks to the Buddha and Venerable for teaching us all about this. And with that, can we invite Venerable to lead us in our dedication for tonight?
Okay, so let us do dedication. May these profound merits and virtues be dedicated to all sentient beings. May we eliminate all karmic obstacles, and together may we attain the state of Buddhahood. Okay, thank you, Joshua. Thank you, everyone. Good night and have a great week ahead.
Thank you, Venerable. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Bye-bye.